Unit 3, Chapter 3, Post Industrialization Age. The quote-unquote noisy Industrial Revolution had brought about radical changes, not only in the economic sphere, but also in the political, social, and the cultural setup of the society where it had taken place. There was no sphere of human activity which was not affected by this economic revolution. These changes were varied in nature and had taken place at different levels. Different transformations due to the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution had led to the establishment of factory system. This system led to the urbanization of the industrialized society, whereby a number of new cities had emerged which were the center of production. The factories were established in these urban areas and they provided employment to the people, and so it attracted a large number of people, mainly from the rural areas. This led to the overcrowding of the urban areas, which put a pressure on its infrastructure. In England, cities like Manchester and Leeds had witnessed maximum number of people settling over there. These different industries had employed both the skilled as well as the unskilled laborers. The urban areas were looked upon as the perennial source of employment by the landless farmers in the villages, who then flocked in large numbers to the urban areas. The Industrial Revolution had led to the rise of a capitalistic economy, wherein the two important classes were the capitalists and laborers. Economic inequality had existed to a large extent among the capitalists, who had owned the factories, and the laborers who had no access to the ownership of the means of production and so worked in the factories for low wages. The capitalists had the support of the government, who framed the laws to protect their interest, whereas the laborers lived in poverty. The capitalists, in order to earn huge profits, would exploit the laborers. In the post-industrialized society, the family, which is the basic unit of the society, was adversely affected. Due to the low wages earned by the head of the family, all of the family members, including the women and the children, had to look out for some source of income. This left the family shattered, as the members did not get time to spend with each other. The children were either sent to work or were kept alone at home by their parents. They were neglected, and this led to the rise of street children who were involved in a number of illegal activities. A number of novels written during this period has brought out this evil side of the Industrial Revolution, and one of them was the novel Oliver Twist, written by Charles Dickens. The poor laborers had lived in small and dingy houses, which did not have proper ventilation or sanitary facilities. Unhygienic sanitary and housing conditions affected their health. Most of the poor people died due to starvation and malnutrition. The hardships of the laborers never seemed to end. Unsafe working conditions and unhygienic living conditions was very common in the post-industrialized society. The Industrial Revolution had transformed the concept of leisure in the post-industrialized society. Earlier, it was only the rich people who had ample of time at their disposal, and they involved themselves in various activities during this free time. In the post-industrialized society, due to the scientific and the technological developments, there was a change in the concept of leisure for the rich and the middle class people. It was the development in the printing technology which had revolutionized the reading habit of the people. Though the Chinese had invented the art of printing, it was the invention of the first printing press by John Gutenberg in Germany during the 15th century which had transformed the concept of reading among the people. John Gutenberg, John John Gutenberg, Guttenberg. Earlier, reading was the privilege of the rich and the elite class, since books were rare and expensive and only they had the required free time. In the post-industrialized society, books were easily available at cheap prices since they were printed in large numbers. Thus, even the averaged middle-class people were found indulging in reading. The printing technology also promoted the circulation of the newspapers, which became a tool to spread and exchange ideas among the people as well as the nations. Even in the colonies, the newspapers which were published had carried out the task of spreading nationalistic ideas among the people and the leaders. For example, in India, the newspapers had played a major role in spreading the nationalistic ideas, and it also provided a platform for the leaders from the different Indian states to share their views with one another and make the people aware of the exploitation of India's wealth and resources. Journalism in India began during the colonial rule, and a number of educated Indians contributed towards its development. The contribution of Raja Ram Mohan Roy is noteworthy. He published 3 journals in the first half of the 19th century, and one of them, that is Samvad Kaumudi, spelling Samwad, Samvad Kaumudi, Kaumudi, remained in circulation for a long period of time. It was his publications which had gained popularity because it contained articles which gave the real picture of the conditions of the Indian society and the exploitation and humiliation which the Indians had to face in colonial India. It thus marked the beginning of Indian journalism in colonial India. The newspapers were also used by the commercial class of traders to advertise their products, which had helped them to increase their sales because the newspapers were read by a large number of people, and so information of their products would reach many homes. The advertisements were also preferred by the publishers because it was a source of income for them. In the post-industrialized society, a number of publishing houses were established in Europe and the other countries. These publishing houses started publishing novels written on different subjects ranging from fiction to social themes. In Europe, from the 16th century onwards, novels of authors such as Charles Dickens, that is Oliver Twist, Jonathan Swift, who wrote Gulliver's Travels, H.G. Wells, who wrote The Invisible Man, George Bernard Shaw, who wrote aspects of novels, were widely read by people throughout the world. Even women authors like Jane Austen, who wrote Pride and Prejudice, Emily Bronte, who wrote Wuthering Heights, had become famous due to their writings which depicted the changing role of women in the society. In India, the novels of writers like Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, who wrote Anandamath, Mulk Raj Anand, who wrote Coolie, R.K. Narayan, who wrote Malgudi Days, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, who wrote Gitanjali, and many more were popularly read. These novels depicted the conditions of the Indian society of that period very effectively. The post-industrialized society had witnessed the emergence of new political ideas, which had stressed the rights and the privileges of the common masses. Writings of the French authors like Montesquieu, Rousseau, and Voltaire had resulted in the French Revolution, which is considered as a major event in world history. Even in colonial India, writings of a number of nationalistic leaders like Tilak, Savarkar, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Mahatma Gandhi, and many others had kept the flame of nationalism burning in the minds of Indians. This intellectual awakening had played a major role in bringing about the nationalistic movements in Asia and Africa. These major transformations resulted in the emergence of a society which was totally different from the societies of the ancient and the medieval ages. It was a society which had recognized the rights and the privileges of every person, irrespective of his political, social, or economic status in the society. It marked the beginning of the modern age.